Carl Jung developed the concept of the self as the totality of the psyche, both conscious and unconscious. It is the archetype of wholeness, the organizing center of personality, and the goal of the process he called individuation. So, when Jung speaks of God psychologically, he often refers to this self, not as a theological doctrine, but as a symbolic reality that expresses the divine from within human experience. For Jung, the self is not the ego. The ego is the center of conscious awareness, but it is limited, partial, and often unaware of the deeper layers of the psyche. The self, by contrast, is vast, encompassing the opposites within a person: light and shadow, masculine and feminine, reason and instinct. Because of its encompassing nature and transformative power, Jung saw the self as the psychological equivalent of the God image. This is not to say that the self is God in a metaphysical sense, but rather that it functions like the divine within the psyche. It is the inner center toward which a person's life moves, often unconsciously. The symbol of the self frequently emerges in dreams, myths, and religious imagery as mandalas, divine figures, wise elders, sacred children, or unifying symbols like circles and crosses. These expressions reveal the self's role in guiding, healing, and integrating the personality. In religious terms, Jung argued that these symbols reflect a deeper spiritual truth, that the divine is not simply external or distant, but intimately connected with the human interior. Jung believed that the experience of God arises through this inner symbol-making process. Humans naturally project the self outward, creating images of gods and deities. But behind these projections lies the inner experience of the self, the sense of an intelligent, purposeful center within that transcends the ego and appears to guide the person toward greater wholeness. This is why Jung could say that the self is both the God within and the key to understanding one's personal experience of the divine. Importantly, Jung emphasized that these symbolic experiences are not mere illusions. They are rooted in real psychic processes, often accompanied by intense emotional and luminous or spiritually charged energy. When people encounter the self, especially in dreams or crises, they often feel overwhelmed, humbled, or transformed. These moments mirror religious encounters with God in the scriptures and mystical traditions, where the divine is experienced as both terrifying and fascinating, demanding and healing. Jung also saw the self as deeply paradoxical, reflecting the dual nature often attributed to God: good and evil, mercy and justice, creation and destruction. Now, to grow toward wholeness, the ego must encounter these opposites and integrate them, not deny or repress them. This struggle resembles the religious path of facing the shadow, confronting the divine will, and ultimately surrendering to a greater mystery. Thus, individuation is for Jung a kind of spiritual path, and the self is both its goal and its guiding presence.